Cinema Classics is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.org.
The award-winning Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org. I'm Johnny DiLoretto.
I'm John DeSando.
This is Cinema Classics.
Yeah, boy.
Right about now, I'm thinking that you have cued in the Elmer Bernstein score. And is it there? Is it behind us?
No, because in the new iteration of Magnificent Seven, that score does not come in until the end.
Oh, but it does.
It does.
It does. I haven't seen it. I'm eager to see this movie.
Yeah.
By the time this airs, I will have seen it.
For those who have listened to now we're at our 401st show.
This is 401?
This is 401.
Wow. That is something. You don't have to send anything in. Don't worry.
Right.
We don't need any, adulation or accolades or anything like that. Cakes.
But
keep them.
But for that listener.
Yeah.
Probably.
For that, the guy. Okay. Or Elizabeth in Boston.
Right.
So two.
Somebody.
One Central Ohio listener.
Somebody has probably picked up that the 1960 Magnificent Seven, starring Yul Brynner and Steve McQueen, is my favorite Western.
Yeah, we've heard this.
And your favorite Western is, remind the audience?
I don't know.
Okay.
Unforgiven, maybe? Unforgiven or A la Josie Wales.
Okay. So, with the new one, starring Denzel Washington, you get the black. You get Brynner in black. You get Washington in black. Only he's black.
Yeah.
Which makes it,
Does that play a role?
Absolutely not.
It does not.
Only in a metaphoric way.
Okay, good.
Okay, and I think with the other six, it's an attempt to appease Hollywood's diversity issue.
So similarly, no one drew attention to Yul Brynner being bald in the first one.
Except Brynner himself.
Does he say that?
He warns Offset. He warned McQueen if he didn't stop fidgeting around on screen, he would take his head off.
Yeah, right.
Nobody would look at him. But he
funny.
does take it off once.
But in the movie,
In the movie, he takes it off once.
Yeah, but they don't say it. They don't mention it.
No one
says you're bald.
Right. And so it'll give you an idea, because this is all based on Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
So there is something epic, something deeply metaphoric about it. When you consider 1960 and our emergence into the Vietnam War, you consider now the current iteration is set in 1879.
Okay.
And you're looking at the end of the century. You're looking at industrialization.
All westerns, by the way, by definition, take place post-Civil War, pre-1900. That is the definition of a western.
Well, similar to the Wild Bunch.
Yeah.
And then the more modern Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of misfits.
Right.
Come together as a team.
Yeah, the teen western.
That's right.
Which came about in the late 50s. You could probably chalk it up to Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas doing Gunfight at the OK Corral, and then you start to get some of these, like The Professionals, the Magnificent Seven. Now, in the original Magnificent Seven, John, obviously you know this very well, but the Magnificent Seven comes together to help a group of poor farmers who are being raided annually or biannually by bandits led by Eli Wallach, a scenery-chewing Eli Wallach.
The best bad guy ever.
Right, so they come together to help these poor farmers. Now, I'm assuming that they're making a change here.
Yes.
And that the bad guys are no longer Mexican bandits.
No, they're not. They're a bunch of very high-priced hired hands.
Okay.
By Peter Skarsgård as Bogue, B-O-G-U-E, the very bad industrialist who has taken over a town, and the town widow is not happy about it. So she enjoins Washington, who then gets the other six to come and put together. Now, there are literally scores of bad guys.
Okay.
And 7 good guys.
That's good.
So
I like that number.
I know you do.
You're telling me that these guys kill a lot of dudes.
Oh, they really do.
Oh, see, that's
And it's of course ludicrous.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and you even have Denzel as a sharpshooter, and for me he doesn't quite fit the bill, but it's great to see him dancing around the street as they have the epic gunfight.
Right.
And he is knocking down everybody he aims his gun at.
Yeah.
Love
it. That's the myth.
Yeah,
It's the great myth of the Western gunfighter.
Yeah, and this 2016 version, I think has a much longer battle than we did in 1960. And I don't like to get too much into comparison. They're two different works of art.
Right.
But I've become impatient with so much shooting, with so much time in the film, that you're not getting the character development that I believe you did get in the original.
I mean, I'm just thinking of scenes like, I remember Charles Bronson, and he befriends the two kids, or
there are three or four.
There are several kids.
But an excellent choice.
A scene like that, right, where
great.
You have this like granite-like figure of a tough guy, and he just warms to these kids and talks and teaches them something, right? He's showing them his hat or whatever. I can't remember. It's been so long.
They call him Bernardo, and they adopt him, and it's cute as heck.
Right.
And of course, when he dies, they take care of his grave and all that. There's a real arc to their relationship.
Right. See, that's great screenwriting and great direction.
Yeah. And in this one, there's backstory for a couple. Mm-hmm. Maybe Chisholm, who's the Denzel Washington character.
Okay.
And not much of Chris Pratt, who does a very fine job substituting for Steve McQueen. Yeah. But nobody is Steve McQueen.
Nobody is Steve McQueen. Now that's interesting. See, because I think in the original you don't get a lot of backstory on those two guys.
You're right. You're right.
And that is key to, again, the Western hero. You don't want a lot of backstory. Remember Shane coming up out of the mountains. You know, you just get a little bit in piece, little bits and pieces of what he is. That allows you to fill the backstory with your own sort of mythology. Now, the other characters, see, you get the backstory on them.
Going. There we go.
Right, here we go. Okay, I'll get off my high horse. So, did you get that?
I got it. It was good.
Anyway, so a question for you would be, how about remember Robert Vaughn in the original?
Yes.
And he's sort of this fastidious...
Lee. He played Lee.
Lee. Like Liberace.
With the vest.
Yeah.
He is a bit of feet.
Yes, and he is... I don't know, really, I hated him in that movie.
Yeah.
You always think he's going to betray the group.
Yeah. He's not
coming through.
He's lost his mojo.
So in this movie, I'm assuming that Ethan Hawke
you're good.
takes on
he does,
the Robert Vaughn role.
He
now
really does.
Go ahead, do a quick comparison contrast for me.
Well, Lee is the Robert Vaughn character is withdrawn, and you can tell that he's turned into a coward until the moment when he's not.
Right.
Ethan Hawke is much more gentle about it. He's been a sharpshooter in the Civil War, but he's lost his ability to shoot.
Okay.
But that's not immediately apparent. He works his way into the seven without your being aware until the moment, almost I think when they're practicing their shooting or whatever. Okay. You begin to realize that he's gun shy.
Ah.
And so then you say to yourself, okay, this is Lee.
Yeah.
In a different form. So they do, and they pick up different characteristics from the original seven and put them in here.
Okay.
But as far as your Indian, as far as your Asian knife expert and so on, there's simply that. The Indian shoots arrows, the Asian, and there's nothing. There's absolutely no background.
Okay.
And
Suicide Squad type.
But what I like about your comment about our not knowing much about the leads, we do know much more about Washington as the story evolves.
Okay.
And what it does is change the tenor of the story to one of revenge.
Interesting.
Washington has a revenge going on.
Okay.
And you find that out gently as it goes along. You had no idea why Brenner did, other than he appeared to have some kind of an affection for the town after a while.
Right.
But they simply, as Bronson says, $20? Right now, that's a lot.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
they're going to go. So I
Right.
think that as when I look at the difference between the two, and perhaps that's the modern version. You
Yeah.
know, and modern stories are more complex. Characters are not what they seem at all.
Yeah.
And now, if you take the originals, you talked about it, you don't know anything, and that makes
Well,
it more menacing.
it makes it more. I don't know. I guess when Brenner and Steve McQueen partner up in that very first scene where they want to let the guy be buried. Remember?
Oh,
They gotta bury the
wonderful
dude
going up to
somewhere.
Boot Hill.
And they basically do it because, though they say they have nothing better to do,
Right.
and it's just like, why not?
Right.
You realize that the reason why they're doing it is because it's the moral thing to do.
Oh, right, because
And they are heroic.
as the salesman says, I thought all you needed to be was dead to get on Boot Hill. But they wouldn't because he was an Indian.
Right, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
It's,
So that, Yul Brynner in that black outfit with that black hat, dressing the part of the bad guy,
yes,
essentially,
yes.
but really being the good guy. And the first time probably that reversal had happened in bright Technicolor like that.
Okay, very good.
Really great. And, and maybe you didn't need a lot of backstory other than here's a guy who's so, whatever his past is, he's lonely, but he's moral, and he's going to do these good things. Strap a gun on him, and I'm good to go.
So this is the 2016 version of The Magnificent Seven.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, it is enjoyable. The New York Times calls Denzel the new John Wayne.
I'm
Okay?
Yeah,
I mean,
all right.
we know
it's
he's
a little
not.
hyperbolic.
Right,
but,
it is. But the Times, I think it was Manola Dargis maybe,
Yeah.
who said this, they themselves kind of took to this version. But really you're going back and saying, Akira Kurosawa, you've done a nice job. You've defined heroism
Yeah.
for the modern age.
And and Washington has, over the past 10 years or so, played these world-weary guys who quietly step in and do the right thing. So it's pretty awesome.
That sounds like the subject for Cinema Classics.
Q Bernstein.